Record monitor.
Here we go. Welcome, Bruchim Abbayim, to the Yitzchok Dov Rottenstein Shiur, Zecher Nishmas Yitzchok Dov and Nissen Eliezer. And tonight is the yard site of Mrs. Friedel Sauber, my mother-in-law, Zecher Nishmas Beisha Friedel Bas Avron Tzvi Halevi. We're going to begin by sharing the screen right away with the Mesechta Megilah right here. As you can see, we are now on Daf Gimel, Daf Beis Amud Beis. This is Beis Amud Beis. You see page 4. Beis Amud Beis. We got to the bottom of the Daf to the statement of right here. What's the hand? Ve'amar Rebbe Yirmiyah bar Abba. The last thing we learned was the question of the distance when the Megilah is read. We learned in the Gemorah that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said a walled city and anything that's near to it and anything that's seen with it, which the Gemara is going to discuss later on, as the same din as the walled city. And the Gemara asked, how far does that go? And Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba said, some say Rabbi Chia bar Abba said, that it goes in the distance of Chamsen to Tveria, which is a mill. And the Gemara wanted to know, why didn't it say a mill? So the Gemara said, he's letting you know that the Shiur of a mill, how much it is. It's from Chamsen to Tveria. And we had a whole discussion about a mill being 2,000 amas and the machlokas that exists between the Chazon Ish in terms of how much is an amma. Well, all you got to do is measure 2,000 amas. Chazon Ish has an amma at 24 inches, and Rav Avram Chaim Noah has an amma at 18 inches. So why don't you measure it and you'll go on. I want to mention that the Chazon Ish was the one who said that measurements in the Torah are very, very delicate and very important and have a lot of different ways of measuring. Some of you may be familiar with the kazayas of matzah or the revius of wine that we eat and drink on Pesach, and the different shitos about how much is a kazayas and how much is a revius. We generally follow the psukim of Rav Moshe and the Chofetz Chaim in terms of those things, but there are different measurements. There's a way to measure it by measuring it with the size of an egg, how big is a beitza, and others measuring it thumb size, how many thumbs fit into a kazayas. And so there are different measurements, and because of the measurements, it's very problematic. And we have some references in the Gemara, and one of the biggest discussions on measurements, just to throw something out temporarily to think about, which we know that there's a different measurement in time between Shkia. For instance, the Vilna Gaon was under the opinion that Shkia is a total in hour longitude and latitude. In our Ofek, in the North American or in European Ofek, he goes and brought down in Siman Samach Aleph in the Shulchan Aruch, where it talks about starting Shabbos. He says, the Rabbeinu Tam had a shita that the shkia was 72 minutes, and the Vilna Gaon said, "Einayim mochichos." What are you kidding? Open your eyes. Look outside. It's not 72 minutes. It's less than 40, 45 at the most, especially here in New York. Yeah. So how do you make 72 minutes? So it's all based on the distance of a mill, and what 4 mil is. Okay, so if a mill is 24 minutes, right? So 3/4 of a mill is going to be 18 minutes, and the discussion in the Gemara in Pesachim and the Gemara in Shabbos as to how long it takes to go a mill, and 18 times 4 is 72. And that's how the Rabbeinu Tam came up with his measurement of 72 minutes. We light candles 18 minutes before, or at the most 20 minutes before. There's a sheet of the Uraim that we should light 20 minutes before, and that's what we do. But anyway, we ended off with the discussion of the distances. And now we start a new piece of Gemara, which doesn't seem to have anything to do with Megilah, of course. But why is it here? Because it's said by the same rabbi. The Amar Rebbe Yirmiyah of Itema Rebbe Chia bar Abba. We learned up here, that was the line, in the 5 lines from the bottom, right? And once he made a statement, the Gemara is going to continue mentioning another statement, maybe one or two more, that was said by Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Yirmiyah, and some say Rabbi Chia bar Rabba. Now, get ready, hold on to your seats, because we're about to go into a discussion which is somewhat, you might say, either refreshing or mind-boggling. It's quite unusual. Let's take a look. Rabbi Yirmiyah, and some say Rabbi Chia bar Rabba said, Menatzpach, Mem Nun Sadik Peichav, Menatzpach, Sofim Omrum. The letters Menatzpach was said by the Tzofim. Who's the Tzofim? What's Menatzpach? So we'll go to the Rashi on the bottom. Menatzpach, Kofel Osios. Notice the letters of Menatzpach, those 5 letters, Mem, Nun, Tzadik, Pei, Chaf, are all letters that have a double letter. A mem has a middle mem and an end mem. A nun has an end a nun. A tzaddik has an end a tzaddik. A pei has an end a pei. A chaf has an end a chaf. And they all have middle letters too. So what the Gemara is telling us is Menatzpach, Sofim Omrim. The double letters, as Tosfos says, which we're not going to learn today. There is a beautiful Tosfos over here, which we will get to in Yetz Hashem maybe next week.
How does Tzaddik have double letter? Tzaddik.
What do you mean? There's a middle tzaddik and an end tzaddik. The end of the word.
Tzaddik, dal, you kuf.
No,
Right?
no. The letter tzaddik has
Right.
an end tzaddik at the end of a word. And
Oh,
a tzaddik that's in the middle of the word.
The final letter, like
Right. And the
got
mem
it.
and the tzaddik. And the
Okay.
tzaddik. Menatzpach.
Okay.
These 5 letters all have end letters. A
Okay.
mem has a mem
Right.
psucha and a mem stuma. A nun has a mem psucha, one in the middle of the word, one at the end of the word. Tzaddik has a tzaddik in the middle of the word and a tzaddik at the end of the word. So does a pei and so does a chaf. Okay, so these 5 letters, Sofim Omrim. Now Rashi says Menatzpach Kof El Osios. These double letters was said by the Tzofim. Says Rashi, Nevi'ei Adoros. These letters were said by the Nevi'ei HaDoros. What do you mean they were said by the Nevi'ei HaDoros? That would seem to imply that the end letters were instituted by the Nevi'im. What problem does that present for the Sefer Torah? Any Sefer Torah that was not written with the end letters is possible?
No.
No. What about the ones that are written with the end letters? If they weren't written by Hashem, they were written by
Right.
Nevi'im. Doesn't that possible it? Well, they came up with new letters. You
No.
can't have a new Sefer
Right.
Torah. It's not only that, but did you notice something about these 5 letters? Menatz pach mem nun tzadik pei chaf. Did you notice anything about it?
The next each other? No.
You'll take a close look at the letters and the way they're written. There should be some question as to the letters. What do you think?
It's not in order.
Okay, good. It's not in order. What letter should be first?
Chaf.
The chaf, yeah, sure. Okay, and the pei should be before the tzaddik, which is 90, right?
Yeah.
So why are they written like this? Menatzpach. Okay, we're going to discuss this in a minute, but let's go a little further first. Menatzpach Sofim Omrim. So these 5 letters were said by the Tzofim, and Rashi said Sofim on Nevi'im, because what does hard Sofim mean? When in Yerushalayim, there's a hard Sofim. What does hard Sofim mean? How do we translate that in general terms? What's the name of hard Sofim in English?
Scopus.
Mount Scopus. What does Scopus mean?
Oh.
See, look.
Lookout, right?
Oh.
Scope. Mount Scopus. Sofim means, like we say, umitzapim liyeshua, right? Sofer umabit b'chol adoros, right? You look ahead, right? You have to be at Sofer. The Nevi'im were called Sofim because they looked ahead. They saw the future, right? So here it says Menatzpach Sofim Omrim. They were said by the Nevi'im, right? So the Gemara asks, wait a minute, right away, here's Akasha. V'tisbira let's analyze this. Svara, give me a svara. V'tizbera. Let's analyze this. V'oksiv, it says in the end of Amidbar, I'm sorry, the end of Vayikra, it says the end of Vayikra, Eila ha-mitzvos, asher tzivah Hashem. These are the commandments. And Chazal learn out from this in the Gemara in Shabbos, she'ein novi v'sha'i lechadesh davar me'ata, that a novi cannot go and make a chiddush. Now, Nevi'im did make chiddushim, but when it says a novi can't make a new chiddush, it doesn't mean a novi chiddush. It means a deoraisa chiddush. And letters in the Torah are deoraisa. So if you're telling me that Hashem gave the Torah without these end letters, and along came the Nevi'im and gave us with the end letters, that means that they are mechadish, something new in the Torah. Wait a minute. What's this, a New Testament here? What's going on here? You got the wrong religion. What's going on over here? What's this with the Nevi'im being mechadish? That's question number one. The Gemara is not finished. The Ode, furthermore, you said that Mem Nun Sadik Pei Chav were the 5 letters with end letters that was said by the Nevi'im. Ha'omar Rav Chisda did not, Rav Chisda, say in the Gemara in Shabbos, Mem v'Samech, the letter Mem, and the letter Samech, Shebeluchos, that were in the Luchos, top of the next daf, Gimel Lamed Aleph, here we go. B'nei Soyu Omdim.
Right.
Those 2 letters were in the Luchos by a miracle. What do you mean a miracle?
It was hollow.
Rashi.
Yeah.
That's another Rashi. B'nei Soyu Omdim. Sha'hayasa chakikason mishnei evreihen, because their inscription and the engraving, that's what chakika means. Chakika means chokuk. It's dug in. So because the inscription was in the luchos from 2 sides. One of the things about the luchos was, according to the Gemara in Shabbos, which we're quoting, maybe we'll see it soon, but it's that the letters were written in stone through and through, right? Therefore, Hilkach, She'ar Osios, all the other letters of the alphabets, Yesh Lahem Makom Dovak, there is a place to stick it on. For instance, if you have the letter Beis or Aleph, okay? So if you make it Aleph through and through, so it still has parts of the letter that will stand, so to speak, and look as if it's an Aleph, because it's not just a hole in the rock. Ella, mem v'samach, a mem, hey, an end of mem, and a samach even in the middle of the letter. A samach, it's a circle.
Yeah.
So what happens when you engrave a circle in stone through and through? The middle of the samach that makes the samach is not there. It's just a circle. There's no samach. It's just a hole. Because the middle part doesn't have what to hang on to. The middle part of a pei has what to hang on to. A tzaddik has what to hang on to. A chaf, a lamed, every letter has what to hang on to. A ches, a zayin, a vav, everything has what to hang on to. But a samach, the middle, has nothing to hang on to. And the end mem also has nothing to hang on to. So therefore, elamem v'samach, hayasaba avir, right? The mem and the samach, they're hanging out in the middle, and there's air there. The dafka bestumen. These words are air in Rashi, because Rashi is going with the sheet of Tosfos on the previous page, which again we didn't learn today. We won't learn today because it's a rather long thing, and I want to get through this particular topic. We'll come back to that Yetz Hashem maybe next week. But dafka bestumen in the sasum, in the last letters, right? And the Efshar, it's possible, Hoya, Lo, Litarex Hach, Derav, Chizda, Bestumen. And it could be that the Mem and the Samach were referring to the end letters. V'chi Itmar, Ach, the Rebbe Yirmiyah, Bepe, Suchin, but maybe Rabbi Yirmiyah was talking about the middle letters. V'achi muchak v'perek haboneh b'mesechas Shabbos ela ha'paruch lo milsa d'shav yil tarvayu. The truth of the matter is the end, the samach is even if it's not an end samach, every samach is not going to be able to hang on. But he's asking about the mem and the samach so that flows, both of them are unusual. The end mem is unusual because they're not going to have what to hang on to. So wait a minute, let's go back. So we said on the previous summit, here we go. We said that the Tzofim said the end letter mem and the end letter mem. How could that be? We learned that Rav Chizda said that the mem and the samach and the luchos were hanging by a nace, and if they were hanging by a nace, that somebody's coming in. I have to let him in. If the mem was hanging by a nace, that means that mem had to have been there before the Nevi'im. And if that mem was there before the Nevi'im, how could you come and tell me that the mem was made by the Nevi'im? You hear the second kasha? So we have two kashas. Let's go back. Kasha number one. The Tizbit v'oksiv ela mitzvahs. From there we learn she'ein novi v'shar l'chadish Torah me'ata, that a novi can't make any new laws or ode. Another question. Rav Chizda said, mem v'samach shevaluchos b'neis oyu omdim. The men, the samach and the luchos were in the nace. So that means that the end mem, the middle mem is not a nace because it has a little piece to hang on to. But the end mem is going to fall away, right? So what are you telling me, that they were made up by the Nevi'im? We see they were not made by the Nevi'im. They were in existence before the Nevi'im because they were in the luchos, and the luchos were before the Nevi'im. Everybody got the kasha, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Answers the Gemorah. Okay.
Isn't it just a block?
What?
It's a circle, so it's a circle. What? I'm not sure when a person writes an end of mem,
Yeah.
there is no middle part to it. There doesn't have to be a square in the middle.
Wait a minute. How would you know it's a mem and not a circle?
Well, it looks like a box.
Okay, it looks like a box. It doesn't look like a mem. You got to have that middle piece in order to make it look like a mem. Here, look. Here, look over here. You see the samach here?
Right?
Okay,
No,
take away the white part. Take away the white part. That's in the middle.
Oh. But so the bottom of the samach might be resting on something.
The middle of it. The middle of it.
So what about the aleph? So the aleph you also take off.
No, what are you going to take away? If you drill it through and through, if you take a piece of stone and you drill an aleph through and through, engrave an aleph so that the engraving goes from one end straight to the other side.
Right.
The aleph going to show up in relief?
The aleph
Sure it will.
Yeah.
It will show up.
Right.
If you engrave an aleph, take a piece of paper and cut out an aleph, right?
Right. Okay.
The aleph will be there.
Right.
You just cut away the black part. The aleph will be there. It's like an engraving. But a mem or a samach, an end of mem is a circle. All you're going to have is a hole in the rock. You're not going to have that. There's nothing to hang on to.
But it looks like a mem. If I take a box out of that piece of paper, it looks like a mem.
No, it doesn't. It looks like there's a hole in the piece of paper.
Which is what a mem is.
Okay, but you don't know if it's a mem or a samach or anything else, or maybe some other letter that's missing some holes. You don't know. It's just a hole. And the point is that the letters had to be seen from both sides. Here's the next issue. That miraculously, the luchos were written mishnei avrehem. You know, it was through and through, but no matter how you read it, it worked out good. How does a mem stand? It's postured that the mem cannot possibly stand if there's nothing to hold on to it. You wouldn't think it's a mem. It'll look like there's a hole in the thing, and that's it. If you had a Sefer Torah which had a mem, right, with no inside, you know, forget it. It would look like there's a hole in the cloth, which it is. It's not a letter. The whole Sefer Torah is puzzled. One letter. The whole Sefer Torah is going to be puzzled. The luchos too, they'll be puzzled. Okay. Here comes the answer, right? And don't jump out of your seats with the answer, because it's also an answer that requires a little discussion. Answer the Gemara in. You are right. No Navi can make a new letter. And if a Navi comes and makes a new letter, then he is not a Navi MS. A Navi cannot teach us a new D'oraisa law. A Navi could teach us certain D'Rabbanan laws or certain Nevi'im laws, like on Shabbos, right? So we say in the Kiddush of Shabbos, right? From that pasuk in Yeshaya, we learn Shabbos. You shouldn't speak on Shabbos the same way you speak during the week. You have different discussions. During the week you can talk about sports, you can talk about politics, but on Shabbos you talk Torah. On Shabbos you talk, how can we help Ein Adam L'Chaveiro? On Shabbos you have different types of discussions, right? So that's learned out from Yeshayahu, and it says Shelo hiluchach b'Shabbos kamo hiluchach b'chol. On Shabbos we don't even walk the same way. Many people have a minhag that, for instance, they won't walk on 13th Avenue on Shabbos because it's a shopping center, and they don't walk on it during the week. They walk on 12th Avenue or 14th Avenue, or some rabbis walk on 11th Avenue, whatever. So it's a different walk. You walk and you take different types of steps. During the weekday you'll be running and late and so on. And Shabbos, posting bo psiya katana, right? So other bo shalosh pa'amim. The whole Shabbos is different, and that's learned out from the Navi. But when it comes to D'oraisa laws, you can't learn a D'oraisa law from the Navi. And how can you have letters learn D'oraisa? Answer the Gemara in. The truth is mahava havu. The truth is those letters were there beforehand. You're right. You're right. The Navi could not make new letters, right? In mahava havu. In truth, those letters were there beforehand. V'lo havu yadi, but they didn't know hey be'emtza teva, hey besof teva. They didn't know which mem goes in the middle of the word or which mem goes at the end of the word. They didn't know. Why didn't they know? The Osud Sofim, along came the seers, the Nevi'im, the Takinu, and they made it Takana, Psuchin be'emtza teva, the open letters, the letters that had something to hold on to, were in the middle of the word, Ustumin, but the closed letters, the ender letters, Bisof ateva, were in the end of the word. So according to this answer, the Nevi'im, the letters were there, but nobody knew which one was the middle letter, no one knew which was the end letter, and that seems to be the answer. What are you talking about? I have the same kasha. That means if nobody knew which one was in the middle and which one was the end, right? So what's the problem? That means who established them? The Nevi'im. Ask the Gemara, so, end result. Eila ha-mitzvahs. We learned the pasuk, Eila ha-mitzvahs, she'ein navi asid lechadesh davar me'ata, that no navi is able to make a new thing from this point on, from the Torah's point on. How could they make something new? It's still new. It's the same kasha, right? Answer the Gemara. Whoa! And I don't know how much you like this one, but here's the answer. Ella shokchum. They forgot. They forgot which ones were in the middle and which ones were in the end. The chazru and the Nevi'im went back, chazed over, the Yizdum, and they were misader them, and they put as a basis Yizdum. They made a yesod, and they established which ones go in the middle and which ones go in the end. So it was always known. The letters were always known. The letters were always known which one was in the middle and which one was in the end, but it was forgotten. And when it was forgotten, the only ones who remembered them were the Nevi'im, and the Nevi'im put it back in order. Now, you have to understand that this sounds really a bit outlandish, but we have to remember, it's very important for us to remember that Golus does unbelievable things to the Torah mind. And when someone is away from the study of Torah, they lose it. They lose it. If someone doesn't review his Torah, they forget it. They don't even know about it. The Gemorah in Shabbos, in the 7th parak, has a discussion of what happens if someone makes a mistake and the shogeg transgresses one of the 39 malachas, right? So if you transgress one of the 39 malachas b'shogeg, you got to bring a korban chatas, right? What happens if you forget this Shabbos? You forget that there was ever a din of Shabbos, and you do 39 malachas. How many korbanos do you bring? You didn't forget 39 malachas. You forgot Shabbos.
Bring one.
You bring one korban. The Gemorah wants to know, wait a minute. How could someone ever forget about Shabbos? How could you forget there's such a thing as Shabbos? You know what the answer is?
He thought today was Sunday, whatever. He thought Sunday. Whatever.
No. He didn't think today was Sunday. He forgot the ikr of Shabbos.
Oh.
If he thought today was Sunday, it's different.
Yeah.
He forgot the ikr of Shabbos. He forgot there's such a thing as Shabbos. Right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. How could such a thing happen? Well, I don't know if you ever met people like that, but I have. I've met people who at one time was Shomer Shabbos, and they spent the next 50 years desecrating the Shabbos left and right so much that they didn't even know it was Shabbos. They didn't even know, they didn't even think about it, it didn't enter their minds. They forgot it's Shabbos. When the Golus came and the wars, which drove the 10 tribes out of the land of Israel, and the Nevi'im came along, the later Nevi'im, Shiur and Yirmiyahu, and they put together what was always well known by so many people, and by some it was forgotten. They put it back, Chazar HaTorah Liyosna. They put the Torah back together, and that's what the Gemara seems to be saying over here. These things were forgotten, and they were put back together by the Nevi'im, and therefore it's not under the category of the Ein Novi Yishoel L'Chadesh Davar Mei Ata. Okay. Before we go any further, I want to go back just to the word menatzpach. Okay. Okay. So we said the Ritva asked the question, obviously, and we already put that question forward. These letters are out of order. Why were they written like this? Why were they written out of order like this? Were they forgotten the aleph base in order? Shouldn't it have been with the chaf first, and then the mem, and then the pei, the nun, the pei, and then the tzaddik? Kaman pats should have been kaman pats. Why is it menatzpach? So the Vilna Gaon comes along and explains when the Gemara says that Shakum, the Chazru v'Yistum, that when they were forgotten and they were then put back, they weren't put back in order. The Nevi'im that put them back in a different order. One Navi came along, he put back the Mem in the right place. The second Navi put the Nun back in the right place. The third, the Tzaddik, the fourth, the Pei, and the fifth, that's why it's Menatzpach. That's according to one Shita in the Vilna Gaon. There is a Tosfos in Shabbos that comes along and said, no. I want you to know that this word Menatzpach was specifically put like this because it spells something. Do you remember what we learned at the beginning of the Shiur? The word Sofim, right?
Yeah.
Sofim means what? Seers, scope, right? Hard Sofim, right? People who see, Nevi'im, Sofim with a Nevi'im, right? So along comes the Vilna Gaon, the Tosfos in Shabbos, and says the word Menatzpach means min sofayich. Min sofayich, from your neviim. Min sofayich. Kol sofayich nosu kol. Yachad yiranenu. It's the pasuk in Yeshaya. It's talking about the Shiva de Nechemta. Min sofayich, from those who look ahead and see from the Nevi'im, aim these letters established once again in the Torah in the right order, because there was so much loss of learning. And Rabbi Say, you have to remember what was lost when they went to Gullus. The yeshivas were lost. Everything was lost except for the tribes of Yehuda and Binyamin, which went to Beth-El, and there the Cheresh and the Mazgir, meaning the Talmid Chachamim, went and set up the academies in Surah and Pumbedisa to be able to once again put back the Torah the way it was supposed to be. But the only ones who remained after the destruction of the first Beis HaMikdash were Yehuda and Binyamin. The 10 tribes were lost. What do you mean they were lost? They were lost to Shabbos. They were lost to Sukkah. They were lost to Lulav, to Taras and Mishpacha, to Kashas. They were lost to their Hebrew names. They were lost to their Jewish names. They were lost to everything. They became the 10 lost tribes, lost to Yiddishkeit, because they didn't have Torah. If you don't have Torah, it's the end. It's lost. You can give it up, and you're going to assimilate, and you're going to become nothing more than the nations of the world, and you're not going to be part of Am Yisrael. And that's the crucial thing that we have to learn from Menatzpach. Okay. All right. We're not finished. So let's go more. Another statement by Rabbi Yirmiyah, the Tema Rabbi Chia bar Abba in Daf Gimel Amud Aleph in Mesechta Megilah. Fascinating statements here at the beginning of Megilah. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah the Tema Rabbi Chia bar Abba. And Rabbi Yirmiyah said, some say in the name of Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, Targum Shel Torah. The Targum that we read in the Torah, Unclus Hager Omro, was said by Unclus the Ger. You hear this?
Unclus was a ger?
Unclus was a Ger.
Yeah.
The Gemorah relates that Unclus was a member of the royal, either Greek or Roman family. He was the Romans. He was a member of the royal family. And there is a whole story about him in the Gemara, of course. If you'll take a look at the Daf Yud Ches later on, we'll see. I'm sorry. There's Yerushalmi in where is it? In Megilah, I believe. All right. It tells the story about Unclus Ager, that he started asking questions of the emperor, and the emperor said that he was God. So Unclus said to him, if I remember correctly, this was the Medrash. Unclus said to him, "Okay, if you're God, so make the sun rise in the west and set in the east." So he said, "Okay, I'm not God. The sun is God. I'm not God. The sun is God." So he said, "Yeah, okay. How come the moon comes out at night and the sun goes away?" He said, "You're right. The sun's not God. The moon is God." So he said, "So how come the moon goes away and the sun comes?" And I have a better question. How come the clouds come and cover the sun? If the sun is God, how come the clouds cover the sun? Yeah? So he said, "Okay, the clouds are God." He said, "Yeah, well, how come the wind comes and blows the clouds away?" And so on and so on and so on. So he threw him out of the palace and put a price on his head. And Unclus went and became Unclus Hager. He learned Torah. And he would, and look what the Gemara says. Unclus Hager Omro, Targum Shel Torah. Unclus the Ger said it. Mi pi Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. From the mouth of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. Now, the truth of the matter is, it's not possible that he met Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua because he was much later than Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua, or Rabbi Yoshua was. I wrote down who was later. Let me see. I wrote it down over here in my Gemorah. Who was later? Yeah, the Mashah. The Mashah says it, right? Because he was 3 generations away from Rabbi Yoshua and Rabbi Eliezer. So it couldn't have been that it was Mipi, but it means he learned it through Rabbi Yoshua and Rabbi Eliezer. There are many who point out that Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua had it as part of the Masorah that was given from Moshe at Sinai, which comes out, listen to this, which comes out that the Targum of the Chumash, Targum Shel Torah, Unklas Hager Omro, Mipi, Rabbi Eliezer and Yoshua, it comes out that the Targum of the Torah is actually Mideoraisa, because if it came from Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua, that means they got it from Moshe Rabbeinu, Ish Mipi Ish, and that means it's a halacha l'Moshe Sinai. When we learn today in Siman Reish Pei Hey, we learned today in halacha in the Mishnah Berurah about the responsibility to do Shnayim Mikra ve'echad Targum in the Shiur between Mincha and Ma'ariv. It says there that one of the Targums you have to use is the Targum of Unklis. And why do you have to use Targum of Unklis? Because it goes back to Moshe Rabbeinu, and it's actually halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Now the Mechaber does bring down that you can learn Perush Rashi also, right? Because Rashi is also a Targum. But you'll take a look, and the Mishnah Berurah says Yirei Shamayim, someone who's a Yirei Shamayim does both. They read Shnayim Mikra in the Psukim, and Echad Targum, and Echad Rashi. And I brought down the famous teaching of Rav David Feinstein Zechariah Levracha of his father, the Heilige Reb Moshe, in which he said, if you read Rashi in English, that's good enough for Targum. Because Rashi gives a Perush, as does the Targum. The Targum Unklis also gives a Perush. And when you read the Targum Unklis, you'll see that many times Unklis doesn't give an exact translation. Instead, he gives a little bit of a Perush translation. And if you study it, you'll see that it is absolutely on the mark. It includes Torah Sheba'al Peh. There is a famous tshuva from Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, Zechariah Levracha, in the Yabia Omer, in which he says that every Rebbe should teach his students Targum, because otherwise they're missing out on the Perush of the Torah, because Unklis didn't just write a translation, he wrote a Perush. Therefore, if you read the old Jewish Publication Society translations of, and the Lord said to Moses, Moses, come forth. Moses came fifth, and the Lord lost a dollar. You know, that you can't play. You didn't get the joke. You know? The Lord told Moses to come forth. Moses came fifth, and Hashem lost the dollar. Come on.
Fourth, okay.
Oh,
Okay, the horse, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
all right.
Well, many,
Anyway, it's not a joke. You have to do Shnai Mikra Targum. And it turns out the Targum of Unklis Hager was said from the mouth of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. And before we go to the next statement, which I don't think we'll get to tonight, I want to change the share and show you something which is quite fascinating. We're going to go now to another share, and we're going to show this the end of the shiur today. I hope this is the right one. I think it is. Here we go. Okay, right now. We had it set up before. The wrong one. So sorry. We'll come back to this. I got the wrong one. I'm going to go to the other share. I had two choices, and I took the wrong one. Here we go. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. Wait a minute. That can't be. Stop share. Go back. Try one more time. They're both sukkah? It can't be. It can't be. They're both sukkah. Let's try this one. Oh, that's Megilah. Let me see. Let me see. Maybe it's this one. No. Oh, it's this one. Okay. Do you see this? No, not yet. Hold on. I'm going to get it for you. We'll get it in a minute. I had it over here. Where did it go? Come on, guys. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Gemorah Shabbos. Here it is. Okay, good. We got it. Here it is. I want to show you something here. Fascinating little Gemara on Daf Kuf Dalid in Shabbos. I'll tell you how to remember this. Okay? You know what Kuf Dalid spells?
Spell cod.
Code.
Code.
Code. All right? Here's a code of the Torah.
Oh, code.
Here comes a code of the Torah. Okay? The Gemara comes along and says, Amri le Rabbanan Rabbi Yeshua Levi. The Rabbanan said to Rabbi Yeshua Levi, Osu dartiki ha'idna lebei midrasha. Young children came into the base medrash today. And they said things that even in the time of Yeshua, ben Nun, they didn't say them. What did they say? Aleph Beis, you know what? And now comes the code of the Aleph Beis. By the way, there's a sefer written, the code of the Aleph Beis, and it's based on this little piece of Gemara. It's an entire, it's an entire sefer. I have it somewhere. I don't know if it's in here. But I have it. It's the code of the Aleph Beis. I don't see it here. I know I have it. The code of the Aleph Beis, and it's a fantastic sefer. If you can get a hold of it, it's beautiful. But it's with pictures and everything, by the way. So it's quite interesting. But he tells you Aleph Beis means Aleph Bina. The first thing, the most important thing is understanding. Right? Gimel Dalid. And he goes on, which means Gimel Dalim. Give Gemilas Chasodim to poor people. Okay? Because the Gimel, you see the letter Gimel?
Yeah.
The letter Gimel here? The letter Gimel has a little foot, right? Stretching out this way, right?
Yeah.
And the Dalit has a little piece at the end over here to catch what the Gimel is giving him.
Oh.
You see?
Yeah.
Gimel Dalim. Gimel Dalim. Give to the Dalit. Give to the poor person. He's translating every word. Okay, we don't have time to go through the whole thing. I want to show you one thing over here. Look what it comes over here. All right. Mem psucha, mem stuma. Do you see this?
Yeah.
He's translating the mem, and he's telling you one mem is open, mem stuma, and one mem is closed. To teach you, maimar pasuach, there are some things that are said in the Torah that are pasuach, open, maimar sosum. And there are some things that are said in the Torah that are closed, and we don't understand them.
Right.
Now, what's the first letter of Torah Shebal Peh?
Mem.
Mem.
Mem was like
Me'emasai, right? Yeah. What kind of mem is that? Open or closed?
Open.
Open. Right. What's the very last letter of the last Mishnah in all the Shisha Sidnei Mishnah?
Mem.
Right. From what word?
Shalom.
Right.
Yeah.
It says, Lo Motza HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem did not find anything that was worth to give to Jewish people. Ela Shalom. Shenema Hashem Yivarech Es Hamo V'Asher Lo. As the very last mem. So now, the Torah begins with an open mem.
Not the Torah. not the Torah, the Gemorah.
The Torah
That was
Shabbat.
base, yeah.
Torah Shabbat Peh.
But yeah, Torah
Torah Shabbat Peh. Begins with a mem psucha, an open mem. Person starts learning Mesechta Brachos. Me'emosai korin shma ba'arvin. What does it mean? When do we begin to read the Shema at night? Bishosha akadim nichnasim lechol betrumason. The time that the Kohanim come in to eat their truma, right?
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Of course. Everybody understands that. It's open as anything. Mem stuma is the last word. Hashem yivarech es amo v'asholom. But when you finish all of Shisha Sidei Mishnah, you look back and you say, I understood the first Mishnah. Did I understand every other Mishnah? Did I understand the Gemorah that's in between the first Mishnah and the last Mishnah?
Yeah.
Did I understand all the Rashi, all the Tosfos? Did I get the Mashah and the Rush? Did I get the Ran and the Rif? Did I get all the Mefarshim that expand and bring out the hidden secrets of the Torah? No way. So what do? Start all over again. You start with the Mem Psucha and do it all over again. Rabbi Pesach Kronschlichter once gave this drasha about the Mem Psucha and the Mem Stuma. And he said, what we have to do is recognize the openness of the Torah. And once we delve into it, we may find that we didn't get it all, and we're going to reach the Mem Stuma. You know what you do? You go back and start all over again until you get more and more of the Stuma. And that's what a Talmud Chacham does. That's what the Klal Yisrael does. It constantly goes back. So in our Shia tonight, when we talked about Mansepach, whoops, the wrong thing. What we want to do is okay, we want to get back to our Mesechta Megilah here, and we want to see, Targum Shel Torah Unklas Hager Omro Mipi Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yoshua, and that's where we ended off tonight, right here. And we're going to pick it up, Yitz Hashem, from there next week. We had a very nice shiur today. We covered some very interesting ground. I saw some interesting sidelights about the Nevi'im, about Mansepach, Min Sofayich, right? From the seers, things were forgotten, but Shachom v'chazru v'yistum, they forgot them, but they returned and put them back in the right order. And we have it to this day that this is what is going on. And we also learned about Unklas Hager and the din that we have to do Shnai Mikra ve'Echad Targum from Unklas Hager, because it's like Halacha l'Moshe Misinai. And by the way, if you can do the trup, that's even better, because that's the real way to lane in the Torah. You know the trup, use it. You don't, learn it. Not so hard to do. Like everything else, you just put your mind to it, and before long, you'll be singing away with the trup. So try to do Shnai Mikra Targum every week. You're going to dance differently in Simchas Torah. It's going to be a different ballgame. Be a beautiful thing, and we all could do it. We really could. I gave a suggestion tonight in the shiur that on Monday, on Sunday, if you do Rishon Sheni on Sunday, it'll take you 10 minutes. And then you do Sheni to Shlishi on Monday, another 10 minutes. Of course, if you're going to do it all at once, it'll take an hour and a half. You don't have an hour and a half straight. So you take 10 minutes a day. Rishon to Sheni, Sheni to Shlishi, Shlishi to Revi, and so on and so on. And before long, you cover the entire Torah, and you can dance on Simchas Torah. So it's possible to do. Okay, we're finished tonight. Any questions? Okay, Baruch Hashem, you're all welcome to join with us Thursday night for further shiurim.
8:30.
8:30. And David Beck, if you have a moment, please give me a call on the cell. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll both be in jail.
Okay.
Rabbi, Yaftikoyach.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank
Is
you.
Shnai Mikra, I mean, we learned in the Shnai Mikra in Mishnah Boro that it's a chiyuv, it says.
Yes.
But where is that from, that it's a chiyuv? How do we know
It's a Gemorah. It's a Gemorah in Brachos. Chayev Adam lahashlim Parshi Yosef imat tzibur. Shnai Mikra ve'echad targum.
But where did the Gemorah get it from?
probably from the Hagisa Bayom and Valayla, and what you should do. Well, we could take a look at the Gemara and Brachas and go investigate that a little more. But Chazal said it's a chiyuv, so it is. The question is, where they what the source. What I can look that up in Gemara Brachas and Yetz Hashem. Now, thanks for giving me a little work to do. I don't mind. I know it's good for me. I should know that, and I don't remember it, so I'm going to go back and try to find the source, and I'll get back to you in Yetz Hashem.
Thank you.
Good question. Okay.
Rebbe, have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Oh, Bill, you on? Okay.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Rabbi.
sure.
Do well.
Good night. Good night.
Oh, have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so
Good
tomorrow
night.
morning, 7 o'clock.
Tomorrow morning, 7. There we go.